Serious, which addiction isn't taken seriously enough? Mobile phones. Yes, there are some articles about the social problems it brings, but nothing is done. People are too hooked on these things. Love addiction. I mean relationships. Those people who never are single and have shitty relationships. Sugar. Shopping. Caffeine. Food. Moderate but frequent alcohol use. TV. Older generations are completely addicted and it's somehow acceptable and not much discussed. Gambling addiction. No one seems to be able to understand it, except people who have it. Second issue is that you basically carry casinos in your pocket nowadays. There's thousands of online casinos, transferring money takes tens after account has been made. Imagine trying to quit any addiction but having to carry it in your pocket all day every day. Then when you give in, people say you're an idiot. Vaping. A lot of people think at least they aren't smoking, but all of these dumb teenagers are consuming so much nicotine. It's wild. There are middle schoolers addicted to nicotine now because of vaping. Afrin. Attention and sympathy. My mother will blatantly lie and throw anyone under the bus to get sympathy and attention. She's lost jobs, friends, and my respect. Porn. Food is a real addiction. Reddit. As a former crack and heroin addict, caffeine and cigarettes, though that is taken seriously. I was at rehab for 6 months and 29 out of the 31 people there smoked, and we all drank tea or coffee. We'd all given up drugs and drink, but try take away the coffee and there'd be a riot. Attention addicts. Cannabis. Porn, it's an addiction that isn't taken serious. It affects your view on women and how you view your relationships. Also just doing it because something isn't going right in life. You're bored? Jerk off. Stressed at work? Jerk off. Can't sleep? Jerk off. Just doing it to fill the voids throughout the day or just because, isn't good. It unfortunately causes guys to develop ED at younger ages now. Really wish it was taken more seriously. Honestly, weed. People assume that it's just stoners, and there's so many myths surrounding weed, mainly that it's not addictive and there's not withdrawal symptoms. If someone can't go a day or a few hours without smoking, it loses appetite, has stomach cramps, nausea, etc. When they do try to go without it, it's an addiction. It doesn't just make you a stoner. Marijuana is also a psychoactive substance, and when smoking it heavily before you've fully developed can lead to an array of mental health issues down the line, or susceptibility to developing them earlier on. Video games. My mom would spend hours and hundreds on games while not feeding me for days to afford it and her fancy clothes. Spending money is another one, but it was the video games that had her sucked away from responsibilities. Social media. Shopping. It sounds crazy until you deal with it. Self-harm. I don't think people realize how addictive it is. Porn. Like telling a porn addict to just stop being horny is like telling a food addict to just stop eating. It's technically correct but won't help, needs to actually be acknowledged and treated as an addiction. Sugar and mild alcoholism. Buying things. It's even normalized and encouraged. Alcohol. Gambling. I see the same question reposted constantly. Karma farming is an addiction that definitely needs to be put to bed. Sugar. Talking. Alcohol, wine specifically. It is totally normalized for someone to sit down and have a couple glasses of wine in the evenings, but if that same person chose to have beer or hard liquor, they would instantly be labeled an alcoholic. Alcohol is alcohol. Being on Reddit. Maladaptive daydreaming. It takes over my life constantly and it really sucks, sad face. Biting yourself lips, it's really harmful. Coffee. Food addiction. Social media. Alcohol. Video games. Alcoholism. Growing up, a friend's dad couldn't go more than an hour without a drink or his hands would shake. Sugar. But that's the socially acceptable addiction. So they put it in everything and don't worry about the health risks. It's fine. Studies, what studies? Have another Snickers. Smiley face, nods. I think gaming should get a mention. I've legitimately seen friends fuck up their lives because they was so addicted to games. One friend just completely abandoned his university studies and failed because he couldn't stop gaming, another one lost a relationship. I think it's a form of escapism that a lot of people can't drag themselves away from because they would rather feel like they did as a kid having fun with no responsibilities than turn it off and live in their miserable lives that feels like it's slipping out of their control.